All righty, everybody. Thank you so much for being here, Mayor. I really appreciate your time. We met actually in community newspaper when you were doing a segment there, and I just had to introduce myself. I've known a lot about you and your work and all the things that you've done for the city of Miami. So I definitely wanted to have you on to kind of just talk about your perspective of politics, about Miami, about what it means to be Cuban. But without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, we have former Mayor Tomas Regalado Sr., because I know your son is also named after you.
Right, right.
Yeah. So, Mayor, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, thank you, Nadir. I was born in Cuba. Uh, most of the Cubans that you know will tell you I was born in Havana,
Hmm.
the capital. But I do.
Yeah.
I was born in Havana. I had a very difficult early childhood because my father was a journalist. He was on TV and on radio and newspaper. He used to work as a correspondent in the presidential palace during the democracy years in 48 to 53, and after that, he joined the opposition to the regime of Fulgencio Batista. And what that means is that he went to jail. I had to visit him with my mom very at the very young age at Yale. It gave me kind of a shock to not being able to understand what are these people here doing incarcerated. And we came to Miami in the late 50s, and then at 59 we went back to Cuba. I was studying in a Catholic school in Havana, and then the Castro regime kind of seized all these private schools. So again, we came to a situation where my father then again opposed the Castro regime, and they decided that me and my little brother should come to the United States as unaccompanied children.
Hmm.
And those children later were called the Pedro Pan children, 14,000 in about 2 years. We came here sponsored by the Catholic Church and with the blessing of then President John Kennedy. So I came here. I I was getting to be a teenager, and then I went to school here. I did my high school in La Salle, and I always wanted to be like my father, a journalist, and I saw the opportunity of doing volunteer work in a radio station. So this is how, the age of 16, I started working in the radio, in the Spanish radio. And you had this thing. My father was in jail already again in Cuba, and it took several months for my mom to come here and claim us from the shelter that we were staying with the Catholic Church. People that live in Miami and have come recently, young people like you, probably know Kendall as uh, as the place where hundreds of thousands of people live, play, work.
Right.
But
Very
but
suburban, very family orientated.
right, but Kendall, when I was in the shelter, was an area of trees and dirt roads,
Yeah. El
and
campo.
the campo, the countryside, and the city of Miami ended in 57th Avenue,
Right.
and so I came here. Uh, to directly to the forest. And then when my mom claimed, I I I moved with her, my little brother, and an aunt to like a small apartment. The song that Willie Chirino did,
Okay.
in
Yeah.
Little Havana, in an apartment. Everybody lived in Little Havana at that time. So I I went to school, but I did intern uh, voluntarily. I did not get paid in the radio station, and this is how my love for radio
Yeah.
began. So I studied journalism, and I work in radio station. Then in Spanish. Then I moved to what today is Channel 7. At the time was WCKT, Channel 7. They had news, and I was like an assistant producer. That means that you are not important, because assistant producers, what they do is they do the copy, they write something,
Traen café
they bring coffee, and that. But it gave me an experience about the Anglo world.
and
Uh,
open the doors.
and opened the doors. So later on, I went back to Spanish radio. Then I was hired by Channel 23 at that time. Channel 23 was not Univision; it was SIM, Spanish International Network, and I was a reporter and an anchor with great people I worked at the time. Channel 23 was the only game in town, the late 70s. And then I got married. I had three children. My wife also was a journalist, and and I went back to radio. At the time, Nadir, radio was growing as Miami was growing, and they had resources good enough to send you away to do stories about different things that were of interest. So I went to Angola. I went to the Civil
Mira eso.
War in El Salvador.
My
Um,
father being Cuban, I was born in Cuba as well, and my mom won the bombo in 2001, and that's how we were able to come here. But my father served in Angola, so it's
right.
really interesting that you were. Pero ya tú estabas aquí.
Right,
Yeah.
right, and I to me the Angola experience was something dramatic because I got to know some Cuban prisoners. I was doing stories with the guerrillas, and the people, and then I did the situation in Nicaragua. I did the elections in Nicaragua. I Before I went to do stories with the Contras in the northern part of Nicaragua, and then finally in the 80s, I was able to be part of the White House press corps as a correspondent. I think, no, not that I think, I believe the first Cuban American to do. They had some Hispanics members from Spain and from other countries covering the White House, but I did the Reagan years and the
Yeah.
Bush 41 years. And then I always was based in Miami. I had When I worked in the White House, I used to live like 2 weeks in Washington, 2 weeks in
A lot of
Miami,
travel.
reparting a lot of trouble with the president. That time, the presidents always travel east, either to Europe,
Yeah.
the Middle East. Rarely they
Go
travel.
west.
Uh, they travel to South America and to Latin America, which is a shame because this is the problem. The problems that we have now is that the U.S. had not taken care of the backyard as they should.
Mayor, you've talked a lot about your origins, and the one thing I didn't hear was your political experience. Is it safe to say that you prefer being a journalist over being a public figure, or about the same? What brings you more joy? Your
Well,
time as a journalist or your time in public office?
actually both, because first of all, politicians are somehow like journalists. As a journalist, you compete for your ratings. You have to do good, so you have good ratings. So they give you a good salary, so you have uh, a program, TV, radio that is well listened. As a journalist, you do outreach
Right, right.
with the public, because you have to. As a politician, you compete for the votes,
The popularity,
the
the
popularity,
recognition.
and if they don't like you, they don't vote for you. Uh, so the politics came suddenly. In 1996, I was doing what I've done for many years, journalism. I was news director for several of the radio station that Raúl Alarcón had in here in Miami, and a seat became vacant in the city of Miami, which at the time was kind of more important than the county, because the county had a different set of government rules. It had a chairmanship that rotated. It had at-large commissioners, and then they became districts. So the city of Miami at that time had an at-large election. So that means that running for commissioner, you have to get votes throughout the city of Miami, and I did campaign for that, and it, it I learned the many faces of the
Of
city of
campaigning.
Miami.
Oh, of course.
And you have the rich Miami, you have the poor Miami,
The
you
different
have the
demographics.
poorest Miami,
Yeah.
you have a little Haiti, you have little Havana, you have little Managua, you have
The
Anglos,
roads, the
the
Shenandoahs, the
Shenandoah,
yeah, yeah.
all the residential area, and it was a great experience. Miami is a city with a brand name, uh, because all of the unincorporated area of Miami-Dade County, meaning that they're not part of a municipality, your postal address is Miami.
Right. Like
So
I might live in Coral Gables, but it still says Miami.
yeah, it says or Kendall or Westchester,
Yeah, yeah.
unincorporated Miami-Dade County. That's why when you are a politician in the city of Miami, you get a call from Kendall saying they haven't picked up my trash, and you say, well,
What do I got to do with it?
what I gotta do with it? Well, I live in Miami, and you are
Yeah.
the commissioner in the city of Miami. But then we have districts. We had, Miami is a great city, but it had gone through, uh, growing pains, if I want to use a very diplomatic
We don't have to be
phrasing.
diplomatic. I know that you're on the radio, and I don't want to compromise you in any way.
No, 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 no.
So,
I can say,
yeah, yeah.
I will tell you, Nader, I will tell you that, I will tell you a story. When I got elected on a special election, in 1996. It was September 1996. I was sworn in the next day. That time, you don't have to wait. At the time in 1996, you don't have to wait for the canvassing board. You don't have to wait 5 days,
Yeah, yeah.
period. So I was sworn in
Right,
as
right.
the new
You won.
commissioner.
Election results coming. Yeah,
Right,
bam.
and you're there,
Mhm.
and then someone said, Commissioner, there is these three guys from the FBI that want to talk to you. And I said, come on, I haven't done anything. You know, I just got sworn in. I don't even have an
Yeah,
office.
yeah.
And the fact is that they say, well, sir, now that you are sworn in, you need to be informed that the FBI is in the few in coming days is going to arrest some people, some elected officials here in the city of Miami.
Man.
Uh, and that was Operation Green Palm, where unfortunately a commissioner, the city manager, lobbyists were arrested for corruption. Uh, that was then. Now
And that's what I
it's
wanted to.
coming back.
And that's and you know and
It's
that's I'm
like
so happy
it's
that you
like
bring that
deja vu,
story,
you know.
Claro. I'm so happy you bring that story up because I can imagine that over the course of your career you've seen the evolution of politics, how we reach out to voters, how we run ads, where we advertise, and those strategies. So my following question was going to be, how would you compare politics when you were an elected official to what you're seeing now? And if you want, I can also talk a little bit about City of Miami. One of my clients is a commissioner now, duly elected in the City of Miami, and his goal, and I'll just spill the beans, it's Mike Gabella, is to kind of clean out and call out the corruption. And it's a little tricky, right, to talk about that type of what's going on in the city, um, because of my job or whatever the case is. But how do you see the comparisons of old school politics, new school politics? Is it the same? Get Wobina.
Well, first of all, politics are not dirty. Politicians are,
Mm,
and not all the politicians. The problem is that when you do something good, you don't become news. When you do something bad, you get the front page. Uh, and I understand that. As a journalist, I do understand that. But what I think it has changed dramatically is the cost of the elections. Uh, Now, you know, when I ran for the first time, 1996, citywide election. You have to talk to the African American community. You have to talk to the Anglo community. You have to visit the Hispanic people in Little Havana or Flagami, or talk to the Grovites and all that. You were happy if you had a budget of about $100,000.
eso no
Uh,
nah.
Now,
You can't do anything with that.
$100,000 won't get you
Won't get
uh,
you anything.
one boat or two boat, and that's something that I don't know how can be fixed, because it gave lobbyists the power of reaching out. I always I always say that uh, you can take money from developers, you can take money from lobbyists, with the only condition that the only thing that you can offer is access. Nothing more. You cannot promise,
No
uh,
votes.
I'm gonna
No.
do this for you. This pay to play thing is what we just recently saw in the city of Miami when Commissioner Diaz de la Portilla was arrested and accused of bribery and money laundering. It is unfortunately that this happened because see, Nader, the city of Miami has become really a global city, but it's also a city known as the exile capital of the United States.
Definitely.
And then the city of Miami gets a black eye, the Cuban community gets a black eye because they blame
The Cubans.
the Cubans. Oh, these Cubans, mind you, uh, it's a bunch of people that are not Cuban that have been arrested throughout the state of Florida,
For sure.
and even here in Miami-Dade County that are not Hispanics or Cuban. But the stigma continue. So now the city of Miami, and I said that to a reporter of the New York Times about 2 years ago, and I said to her, I really think that the media should look at the city of Miami because the city of Miami is ethically challenged at this moment, and I was right. Uh, the Miami Herald looked the other way for many years in this administration, and now they all found out that there is corruption going on
But
in the city.
they've always known. Those are their
They
first.
knew,
They always
but they
known.
didn't.
Claro,
You
report
know
on
that.
it or
They love that that the Bitcoin mayor was
Oye, pero mira, we have Bitcoin here though, okay? Maybe not the Miami coin, but we have Bitcoin here.
right. We do, but the thing is that what they did is just to print press releases. Now they're serious about it, and what they have found out is horrible. I am ashamed.
Yeah,
I can tell you that as a former mayor, as a former commissioner for 12 years, mayor for 8 years, I am ashamed. Uh, maybe, maybe my administration, my years in the mayor's office were boring. I'm very glad of that
because you're away from controversy.
because they mocked me and said that this is the pothole mayor. This guy only takes care of sidewalks and things. But the fact of the matter is that I'm proud of several things. Number one, uh, reducing taxes. Now everybody is talking about high taxes, and rightly so. Then service to the residents. You know, the residents pay our salaries. The residents are the bosses of the elected people in the United States, in the county, in the state, whatever. M- The governments do not have money. They use the money
Of the
of
people.
the people. Governments do not create jobs.
People
The
create jobs with their
people
money.
create jobs. Governments should not enact so many resolutions about obstacles for people who
The
want to
bureaucracy.
start a new business and all
Hmm.
that. You need to help get out of the way and make sure that they can work safe and do their living. So now, unfortunately, uh, that the city of Miami, it's like a cow that is keep giving milk.
So
It's
you have to pay money to go milk it.
yes,
Yeah, because if you can't pay to get in to
yes,
touch
yes,
the
yes,
cow,
yeah,
it's not
yeah.
going to give you milk.
You have to be at the cashier at the door,
Yeah,
and then you can go in. But the problem is that this has created some kind of malaise in the voters and the residents of Miami.
which affects participation, affects the
Exactly.
way how we and that's the other part that I kind of wanted to get into is like, is this a cultural thing here in Miami? Do you think that this same effect, we live in Miami, which is local for us, but then you have the national politics. Is this something that is a very unique to Miami politics, or do you see this kind of pay to play anywhere you go?
No, I think that there is pay to play in many places of the United States, not at the level of the city of Miami. However, the voters have this kind of disenchantment, and the response is the wrong one because the response to corruption should be voter participation.
Get them out of here. We don't want that
Yeah,
anymore. And
we
I'm
we
gonna
don't
take
want you.
El Voto Castillo.
I mean, you can vote with your heart or you can vote with your liver.
Okay, that works.
And you should vote with your liver. And at the moment that when you're facing a corrupt city, because unfortunately the corruption permeates all the city of Miami. That's the perception that everybody has. And the response of many voters is, nah, yeah, I'm giving up. I'm not
That's
voting
not for me. It's not
anymore.
gonna do anything.
Yeah, my vote is not doing, it's not going to do anything. Why vote? Things are not going to change. Same people, same time. So, that's the wrong approach. Uh, the I am very sad that the latest general election in the city of Miami um,
It was like
in
10%,
21 and then now on 23 it's 10%,
literally 10%.
9%. I mean, the same day in November of 2023, Miami Beach had elections, and 30% of the registered
Participation.
voters went to the polls. The same day, Surfside, the little town that we all know because of the tragedy, had amendments on the ballot, and 40% of the people that are registered to vote went. Miami, the biggest city with the most residents, with the most budget, with the most important name, had 10%,
Yeah.
11%. That's a shame.
From an outreach perspective, my clients tell me, hey, we need to knock these voters and these doors. And I can imagine when you were running for office, you used the software like WebElect, and they were like, hey, we're gonna go to the most affluent voters or the highest quality voters. Um,
They call it super border,
the super voters, right? And that's because we know that these voters are going to go out. So
no matter what.
so while that's a smart strategic move, eso no va a cambiar the
Right.
dichotomy of how we outreach the
Mhm.
voters. So a question for you is, what are certain things that can happen? And I don't know if it's necessarily falls upon the candidate, because I'll be honest, as a candidate, my goal is to win. And if the strategy dictates only go to super voters, that's what I'll
You're going to
do.
do that,
That's
of
what we'll
course.
do. But what do you think we can, or the governments, or even if it's like in schools, to kind of change people perceptions of politicians?
First of all, transparency. I think that the City of Miami Commission have neglected their duty of discussing difficult issues in public, which is the goal of the City Commission. For years, in the last 4 or 5 years, I have been receiving complaints of people that I meet in the streets that, well, I went to the City Commission, I sat there at 9 o'clock in the morning. The commissioners didn't show up until 10:30, and when it was time to speak,
The public comment.
I was told you only have 2 minutes. So I spend my days. I I then and then when I was talking, most of the commissioners were looking at their phones and sending texts of laughing. Uh, this is disrespectful, you know.
Yeah.
So that's part of listening to the voters is paramount. Then the authorities that we elect or that are appointed to root out corruption should act. Unfortunately, we have a state attorney that she's very able and professional, but she recuses herself
Right. Que no se mete.
several times
Yeah, she's not involved in it.
when somebody in the city of Miami, like in the case of Dia de la Portilla, was accused or was investigated. First, we need the people to see that being honest with your money pays, that being dishonest
Oh,
doesn't
you
pay.
lose.
You lose. And then people gotta be punished. Then, you know, I think that we should have a kind of a campaign kind of information project that the people understand that yes, it's very sexy and it's very important uh, to go out in caravans for your presidential candidate,
But
you
there's more than
know.
just the president.
But that's the president. Why is it that the presidential elections get 65% of the vote? It's still down.
Yeah, yeah.
It's still not enough. But when you have a local election, you don't get more than 20. So what I tell the people when they told me, no, 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 look, Tomasito, uh, lo mío, mine thing is the president.
Yeah, I only go out for that.
I only
I'll
go
make
out
the
for
line
that.
for that.
And I said, okay, but please take care of yourself. Why do you say that? Well, because if you had a heart attack in your home, you cannot call the White House. You have to call 911.
Yep.
So your paramedics and rescue will get them. If you have trash in front of your house that someone has dumped there. You cannot call 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue.
They're not gonna
You
come.
have to call 311
Yeah.
so they will pick up. And if somebody is trying to enter your home or your car, you have to call the police. And these are municipal service. When people understand that the front line of services are the municipal and the county government, I think that we will have more engagement of the people.
Yeah. What I can tell you is from my peers, I think a solution at the micro level, especially locally, is that people don't even know elected officials. Like I know them because it's my job. But if I talk to my friends, you ask them, "Have you ever spoken to a politician?" No, that's why I hate them all. Well, I want to be your elected official one day and you don't hate me.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I need your vote. So I think there's like a primacy of engagement. So see, no, if it doesn't affect you, you don't care. But if on the ballot was, hey, we're giving $1,000 to everybody, you would have lines. You know what I'm saying?
And by the way, those $1,000 is your money.
Yeah.
Is your money that the politicians use to tell you we're so great that we're giving you money because of COVID and all that. And by the way, you have a point. You have a point because if we go out of this studio, go down with a 45 pistol to the parking lot, and the first person that we see will tell, "Hey, listen, tell me the name of your state rep, or I kill you."
No, yeah, he's done.
The guy said, "Well, kill me.
Kill me.
Tell me the name of your school board member." Now, the state legislature has, in the next few weeks, the regular session. There are 1,500 projects filed that to be discussed. None of them, most of them will not become law, but they will be law. However, the laws that the state of Florida passes supersedes the county
Why? Because of the levels of
and
government.
the local government. Look at abortion. Uh, look at now. Next time you're driving on the Palmetto, if you keep driving on your left, you're gonna get a ticket because you
go
have
to the
to
right.
move over for people who want to advance. This law uh, prevents us from doing something or force us to do something. Then you have the municipal and the county government. You know, they raise your taxes. They raise your water fees. They fix your street. I mean, what are you going to do if you have a beautiful brand new car and you're getting out of your home and there is a huge pothole, just recently rain and you don't see it, you get your car in the pothole and you destroy your tire. Well, that complicates your whole life
Definitely.
for the next 2 or 3 days. You have to go to insurance. You have to you lose work. Uh, Governments, you may not like politics, but you better know politics
It
because
affects every aspect of your life.
because it affects your 24 hour. Even when you're sleeping, you have a police officer that could be going around your block
Yeah.
or responding to a call or the rescue that is on call in case you have an issue. So we need we need the people to understand that the only way to change things is to vote. Listen, uh, I've done 7 elections. In those 7 elections, I was lucky. There's no wood here. I cannot knock on wood. But I was lucky that I never lost one election. I
Straight though,
never,
straight wins.
uh, I never, I never went to a runoff, even though there were many
Contested
candidates.
races.
Uh, but uh, but the problem is that if people massively don't go to vote, I or any candidate will know exactly what you said a few minutes ago. Where are the voters? Where are the super voters? Who has the mail ballot that I can go talk
Yeah,
to?
yeah.
That person just need to sign the ballot and send it.
And that's what Miami electioneering has become. That it's just been this focus on the elderly, focused on the super voter who typically is the elderly because they've had more elections to participate in. And it's just been this thing where if you look at what the cost per voter is in some of these races, you're like, man, they're spending $50 a vote. They're
$50 is cheap.
it's cheap.
It's
I wish
cheap.
it would. I wish I would pay $50 a vote.
It's very, very, very cheap. I mean, in the last election, look at the Gabela Diaz de la Portilla.
Yeah,
Diaz de la Portilla spent
millions,
millions,
millions, literally millions
millions.
for, and that's what's crazy. Millions for a total electorate that was less than 5,000. So you're talking about you spend 1 point whatever for 5,000 votes.
Right,
That's crazy.
right.
When you think, by eso just give everybody $100.
Well, they would if they could.
Yeah, yeah. Um,
And that's easy,
Sí, 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 eso resolver, but that's why we call them contadito politics.
Yeah,
When
yeah,
I
yeah.
come to your adult daycare y doy el pavo, la,
Well, actually, here's the thing. Here's the thing. Giving away food is is fine, sometimes necessary, but the people should know that this is not coming from the politician's pocket.
from a
It's
donation.
coming from either donations or is coming from the government. Uh, when they gave away so many gift cards during the pandemic, uh, these are federal dollars. I mean, when the county gave money, when the city gave money away for rent, this is federal money. And by the way, sir, lady, persons that are watching and listening, uh, you most likely pay more money to the federal government
The local.
than the local government because they discount it from your check and it's a
Yeah,
it's something that you don't even look at it. And by the way, if you are a homeowner, even if you don't have children, school age children, you pay double the taxes that you pay your local government to the school board in every single year. So, so your money is is coming to the governments, and your duty is to be watching what they do with the money, and your duty is to demand. I mean, this is all about. Everybody talks about the First Amendment.
Your
What
freedom of
is the
speech,
First Amendment?
freedom of speech,
The
freedom of religion, freedom
the
of press, freedom of
and and the possibility of petition your government.
yeah.
uh, you are supposed to petition your government. That's your job, as a voter and as a resident. So I think that we need to not educate people. People are educated, and by the way, the the thing that people say, maybe making fun of politicians. They go to the senior center and kiss the Medicare people and all that. Well, you know what? Because the young people talk a lot, but they don't vote.
At all, at all, Republican or Democrat, it
Or
really is.
independent. They
See,
just
see,
don't
y no
vote.
quieren soluciones. Mayor, what would you recommend, or what words of advice would you have for future politicians?
First of all, I think that they need to know their neighbors. They need to know their area. They need to know their city. They need to visit the city commissions or the county commissions meetings. They need at least to watch it in the computers or in TV. They need to engage. There are thousands of boards in the local government who don't pay anything,
No.
but they are boards that make decisions. Well, not in the city of Miami because the commissioners don't care about the boards, what the board said. But that's another conversation. But participate. Get some elected official to appoint you to some kind of boards, either the zoning, either the planning, either the code enforcement, because that way you start understanding uh, the process of government. Understand that there are bonds, there are committees to supervise bonds. For instance, in 2001, I think it was, yes, I think it was 2001 or 2002, we were stuck with a half a penny for transportation, and we were promised that expressway will be free. Uh, that
Yeah, tolls. Me and tolls, we don't get along. I'll be
Yeah,
honest with
nobody gets along with the tolls
you.
because you gonna blink, and then you get a letter from. So we pay taxes. Listen, even if you live, even if you live
Mhm.
on a housing project in low income residence, in apartment, even if you pay just part of your social security check, you pay taxes. Because if you have a transportation, an old car, and you put gas, you have 51 cents of taxes in every single gallon
De verdad.
of gasoline. Yeah, you pay $6, 6 cents to the county. You pay, I think, 15 to 20 cents to the state. Then you pay the rest to the federal government.
And that's on top of the $1.28 to use the turnpike.
Yes, of course, of course. Of the tolls. The tolls are supposed to be reinvested in the you know structures of the roads. However, the problem is that governments take so much time in
Yeah.
planning a palmetto,
It's been under
repair.
construction for like
Uh,
30 years.
yeah, and then you start constructing a new lane, and when you finish the new lane,
You need another lane.
you need another lane
You need another
because
lane.
there are more cars, and that's just I I there was a director of the Department of Aviation here several years ago that was speaking before the county commission, and they were he was complaining that the bureaucracy didn't let him do things faster in the airport, and he said, listen, commissioners, if I jump off the 29th floor as a bureaucrat, it would take me hours to get to the floor and get killed.
Yeah,
Uh, so I think the only solution here, the only solution here is that the people realize that they have uh,
the power.
the power to change things.
Yeah.
That thing.
I think that's gonna I think that's a cultural thing because when you grow up, man, I don't vote, F voting. It's a lot of aspects, right? Like both in education because we have civics, but eso no impida. It doesn't make you want to go out and participate. At least from when I was in school, and then moreover, if you come or you're raised in a household where man we don't trust the police, we don't trust the politicians, it's not going to doesn't come out of you. You know what I mean? So I think it's gonna be a long road, man. I think it's gonna be a long road.
Well, I mean the thing is that uh, there's gonna be this gonna be an important year.
Oh, for
Uh,
sure.
you have you have for the first time in more than 60 years, five constitutional officers that will be elected here in Miami-Dade County, plus seven county commissioners, plus the mayor of the county, plus more than maybe 20 judges in the county and circuits, plus a state representative. So people don't sh- have to wait for November to go vote. August is
The primary.
the place, the primary, where most of these races will be decided. You know, listen, if you look at the at the news every single day, you will see that every political issue, every political controversy ends up in a court
To be decided by a judge, by somebody impartial.
who will be decided by by a judge. And then we have judges in the ballot, and some people ask me, "Oh, who are these judges?" Well, you better find out.
Yeah,
I mean, judges cannot campaign saying, I'm going to get those criminals and give them the electric chair. They cannot say that. But they, you can, you should look at the judges.
yeah,
You should look and the performance the of the elected officials that are seeking other
yeah.
position, and you should look at what the new people that want to be part of the government in any level are saying that they have done as citizens and they can what they can do as elected officials.
So Mayor, before we did the podcast, I had some of our followers submit questions. So I want to ask you some questions here that we got. So let me read the first one. This is coming from our good friend Caesar. He asked, "What are your personal projections for the US world economy in 2024? Are we going up or are we going down with the little eye emoji?"
Well, this is a presidential year, and the people in the White House are doing whatever they can, but they're not doing enough to tell the American people that the economy is good. but actually, the economy is not good. Listen, we have low unemployment. We have uh, people that are spending. However, we are using more than ever credit cards. We are there. There are
More debt.
9 million young professionals that since October of last year, when the emergency ended and the moratorium on the different uh, grants or uh, loans for universities were suspended. Uh, there are 9 million young professionals of the 22 that owe the government money for their education that have not paid a cent. These people are being sent to the legal offices, and their record uh, will be tarnished by this non-compliance with the payment. We have people working 2 or 3 jobs to make end needs. We have the highest rent here in Miami-Dade County of the rest of the nation for people that rent. And mind you, 51% of the all the residents of Miami-Dade County rent,
Right.
and that's a huge number. So the economy is not good. Can we survive? We should we should do what is done when economy is back. We should reduce taxes and and give the people more relief. We should have a different set of rules for homestead exemption, because a house that was value uh, 40 years ago $200,000, now it's $1 million,
Yeah.
and yet you only have $50,000
Of the extension.
of the exception for homestead. It should be more. It should be escalated. Uh, we need to we need to understand that people are hurting. That that you cannot keep using credit cards because eventually it will cut up with you. That is not your money. You're using somebody else's money. So we need to understand that there are times that we should be more prudent in
Yeah.
spending. So do I think that the economy is going to be better? I hope. The only thing I will hope that it doesn't happen is that the government comes out with those things about, oh, we're going to give you uh, help
We're
in
gonna give
in
you aid.
paying.
We're gonna give you relief. We're gonna give
We're
you
going to give
some
you relief. We're going to
rebate.
send you another check of $1,000, because somebody have to pay for that,
Yeah.
and eventually we will cut off with you. The only good thing is that uh, people here in this area, at least in this area, are people who understand that work is the only solution for them to have a decent life.
Yeah. And a
But I can
quality of
tell
life.
you, that there are many people that do 2 or 3 jobs that $15 an hour, $16 an hour doesn't cut it for them.
You know, that concept.
No le alcanza.
Yeah.
No le alcanza.
I have here for my good friend Rodney. He's a realtor. So this is for the former city of Miami mayor. Considering the current state of housing affordability in Miami, and I believe you talked about this with the rent, do you believe we're currently experiencing a housing crisis? If so, what are solutions that you propose to assist individuals striving to own homes or those struggling with soaring rental rates, which you brought up. Alternatively, if you don't perceive Miami to be in a housing crisis, could you elaborate any specific factors or evidence that leads you to believe that there is no housing crisis, considering the challenges many face with high rental rates and housing affordability in the city?
Well, first of all, there is a rental and there is a housing crisis in Miami and in Miami-Dade County, including Broward, by the way. Uh, First, the inventory is getting shorter for one reason. Uh, why me that is paying a mortgage with 3% interest rate will sell you my house and you give me more than the value I pay for it, but when I gonna go and buy another house, I have to pay 7%.
Yeah. While you're having your 3%,
Yes.
you're not incentivized to sell.
Why should I sell? I'd be crazy
Yeah.
if I sell. Then the apartment buildings owners have experienced the brunt of the insurance crisis. There were 58,000 claims in Miami-Dade County uh, the last year, and they were the highest in the state of Florida and the highest in the country. We should address the insurance because the apartment buildings owners uh, on see that their taxes go up, that the insurance goes up, and what do? They're not gonna they're not gonna lose money. They pass it on uh,
To
to
to the
to
to
the
the tenant.
tenant to the tenant. So the assessing the properties, the commercial properties, which are among other things, the apartment building should be on the basis. Okay, listen, if you have uh, an empty apartment uh, for now, I think that the number of days empty here in Miami-Dade County, 31 days availability.
Mhm.
They're open for 25, 25, 35, 31 days until they get rented again. Uh, you should be able to bring your case to the property appraisal and say, well, I lost that much money in 5 or 6 or 7 apartments, and they should uh, uh, decrease your value because that's the value that you're gonna be paying in taxes. That's the first step. The second step is go to the politicians, go to the budget hearings. Unfortunately, in all the governments, and I've gone through 21 budgets in my lifetime as commissioner, and go to the budget hearings. The only people that show up on the budget hearings
Our
of the
lobbyists. Yeah.
county and of the municipalities, number one are lobbies. Number two are people with social programs that want money. There are no residents that say, wait a minute.
Yeah.
You are
Like outside
saying
of the county that are trying
you
to motivate
you
them.
you are saying that you are not raising taxes because you going to leave the millage as it was last year. No, sir, because the value of my property
Has
has
increased.
raised and I'll be paying more taxes. So do not believe the what the politicians say that we didn't raise taxes this year. Yes, you did, because the value
Because you're
was
adjusting it to the value of the
you're
property.
adjusting to the value. So, what is the solution? The solution is to calm down the property values. Uh, Hopefully, Eventually, interest rate will come down because inflation. I mean, the Federal Reserve wants to have 2.5 uh, inflation. That's not possible, I think, not now, because services and products have gone up, and they're not coming down. We are at 3 or 4, 3.5 and 4. In Miami, we are maybe 7 or 8% in inflation. So maybe when inflation makes the Feds to reduce the interest rate, maybe the inventories will come up. Then the government have to understand that in some places they're going to have to go vertical because there is no more land here. You cannot
Yeah,
build.
build up instead of out.
You cannot build in the Everglades. You cannot build
Yeah,
in Biscayne Bay. Where are you going to build? Uh,
yeah, right, paso.
you know you and by the way, you have to protect agriculture because believe it or not, agriculture
Feed the people.
is the second most important economy in our country after tourism, and this is what we eat.
Yeah,
This is what we get every day uh, in the market. So there are many things that can do, but to in a nutshell, calm the assessment of the property, help uh, people with apartment buildings, with the caveat that they need to reduce their rents or not raise the rents, or you will lose that possibility next year.
okay, and this is gonna be my final question, and I think we'll wrap up with this one. And this one's gonna be a little controversial, okay? So I think I want to preface this one, and I know Alex is gonna get a kick of this. You saw the massive police presence on New Year's at Bayside, right?
Right.
Right.
No, I didn't see. I didn't
Okay,
went,
but you've heard
but I
that
heard,
that there was a
and
large,
and I've been there for
yeah.
many years, so I know there is a massive police presence, off duty and on duty.
So at the beginning of this year, there was like 300 squad cars. The video is crazy. It's like the whole Bayside full of cop cars. So they're saying that it was aliens. That what triggered this massive response to to go out there. The police are saying that it was these kids with fireworks and they believed it was an active shooter. And now, the conspiracy theorists are saying that no, they're covering it up because there was like alien presence and stuff. So the question is, do you believe that there's life outside of Earth or that we're the only ones?
Oh, absolutely, absolutely, I do believe that. Uh, and by the way, I would rather deal with aliens than some politicians here. That's something to say. However, in December, in the last session of the Congress, the House and the Senate passed the armed forces budget, and occult in hide in that budget, there was a resolution that was passed by Congress, by the House and the Senate, that orders the National Archives to start organizing and disseminating information about non human intelligence, about objects that have technology not known to the humans that the military has. The caveat was you have to release this 25 years
After.
after has been documented and written by the Pentagon, unless the federal government claims damage to the national security. So, Area 51 it has been going on for 50, 60, 70 years now. And, the conspiracy theories always think that that we have aliens living among us. I just don't believe that,
It's under it's
but
under the
maybe,
Denver airport, the
yeah,
lizard people.
yeah, maybe, but what I do know is that the government has information about things that cannot be explained, about uh, ships that have uh, been taped by Air Force pilots and commercial pilots. Uh, so there is something over there. I hope that they come in peace because we have so much trouble already
Yeah,
here.
yeah. And hopefully the FBI doesn't come talking to you after this one.
And by the way, hopefully they will. And by the way, uh, those cops in downtown Miami, uh, I will tell you that usually are there because uh, when there is a big crowd in Bayfront Park, and there was a this thing, and the same thing was going on in Bayside with different activities, people celebrating the New Year, and when something was going on in the at the Arch Center, uh, sometimes people get rowdy, and the cops needs to be there, and for them, it's a good deal because. Uh, the off-duty police makes twice the money
Yeah.
that they said. So I don't think it was an alien. I think that uh, that there was a right decision to have police presence whenever you have more than 5,000 people, 6,000 people. Uh, you need to have police presence. And I tell you, uh, I was mayor when some people storm Ultra in Bayfront
Uh,
Park,
yeah.
and they almost kill a lady security guard. Uh, and I will tell you that people over there get rowdy, and they need to have police presence. I uh, I I think that the police is fundamental to have a society that works.
Okay. Well, with that, Mayor, thank you so much for your time. We
You're
really
welcome.
appreciate all your insight and all the knowledge. Make sure you catch the Mayor on Mega TV and more importantly on radio. What's the channel?
Yes, it's El Sol 106.7 FM in the mornings with Betsy. I do the news. Sometimes I do bad news. Sometimes
Yeah.
I do funny news, but I do news. And then in Mega TV, I do Saturdays and Sunday night. It's fun, and I like it, and I even get paid something.
Ah, that's the most important thing. For sure. Thank you so much, man.
Okay, thank you.